Last week, the Times of London rolled out yet another glossy, overproduced birthday tribute to the Princess of Wales ahead of her 44th birthday. You know the drill by now. The violins swell, the adjectives flow, and suddenly we're told, again, that Kate is brave, tireless, deeply empathetic, and inching ever closer to some inevitable coronation destiny. The headline said it all: "Arise, Queen Kate," and that right there is where things went sideways. Because this time Buckingham Palace did not smile politely and move on. This time Queen Camilla's camp clearly said, "Enough, let's be clear." Kensington Palace has been pushing the future Queen Kate narrative for years. Carefully curated profiles, emotional support polling, soft focus features insisting she's quietly steering the monarchy while barely being seen. So when that Times piece landed, I didn't think much of it. It was standard keenery, bravery language, selective facts, and glowing praise that simply doesn't line up with observable reality. Limited engagements, no foreign tours, endless insistence that she listens, despite constant evidence to the contrary. But slapping "Arise, Queen Kate" on the Sunday Times magazine cover, with a Caribbean tour photo no less, that wasn't subtle. That was a declaration, and Buckingham Palace heard it loud and clear. Enter Queen Camilla. Amanda Platell suddenly appears in the Daily Mail, doing what can only be described as a controlled demolition of Kate's overinflated image. And then Tom Sykes drops a heavily sourced piece on his royalist Substack, dripping with palace irritation. Let's not pretend this wasn't coordinated. Platell knows exactly how these articles work. She knows full well the Times piece was sanctioned by Kensington Palace. Every quote, every sentiment, approved, signed off. So yes, Camilla is annoyed. And honestly, I get it. She's not interested in letting a married-in princess cosplay as queen-in-waiting while the actual monarch and queen consort are still on the job. Of course, we can't talk about this without talking about Prince William. Tom Sykes's article does what KP-friendly commentators always do: inflate William and Kate's importance while quietly positioning Charles as weak, temporary, or irrelevant. Remember when Sykes kept insisting William was the real power because of Charles's health? That narrative collapsed the moment Charles proved he could maintain a punishing workload. But William's insecurity still looms large. He reportedly spiraled after Charles met Harry last year, especially when the press reaction was positive. Add Harry drawing crowds in the UK and travelling internationally, and William's jealousy went into overdrive. Now Harry is blamed for everything: Kate's health, bad press, emotional support polls, even William's own laziness and lack of leadership. It's absurd and frankly grotesque that some commentators lump Harry in with Andrew just to score points. Let's address one of the most egregious claims floating around, that Kate is somehow comparable to Queen Elizabeth. That is pure fiction. Elizabeth was a reigning monarch for 70 years. Kate is a consort in waiting, married to a future king, if she remains in favour. Marriage does not guarantee queenship. Diana learned that the hard way. The late Queen herself reportedly questioned what Kate actually did. No career, no sustained workload. And now we're told that 60-something engagements, a year and 0 foreign tours somehow equals historic greatness. Polling doesn't support the hype either. Elizabeth peaked near 80% approval. Kate currently sits around the high 60s, and that's actually declining. That's not legendary popularity. That's just, well, decent by royal standards. And yet we're constantly gaslit into believing otherwise. Tom Sykes has, increasingly crossed from commentary into fantasy, claiming shows didn't crack Netflix's top 10 when they did, insisting Kate rivals Elizabeth in popularity when, honestly, the numbers say otherwise. The tone is getting a bit Trumpian, if you ask me. These polls aren't about data, they're about reassurance. William and Kate want their egos soothed, their ambition validated, their impatience indulged. And yes, Charles bears responsibility here. He raised an ambitious, entitled heir, let him run unchecked, and allowed the press to crown William years before any actual coronation. The difference now. Camilla isn't playing along. She works, she travels, she shows up while being older and managing her own health issues. She's not intimidated by Kate's PR machine, and she's clearly not interested in letting Queen Kate narratives run wild while the crown is still occupied. Arise Queen Kate wasn't just premature. It was offensive, misleading, and completely detached from reality. Charles may hesitate to rein in his heir, but Camilla won't. And honestly, watching that pushback might be the most interesting royal drama we've had in a while. Well, squaddies, my absolute take in a nutshell is that I find this piece hilarious. And while I do believe Camilla made a few phone calls, I don't think Amanda Platell needed much prompting to write this. She was probably rolling her eyes so far at that Times article. And that's one of the things that I believe triggered this response, that Kate's article was in the Times, not the Daily Mail or the Sun or People magazine. So I can see that really ruffling Camilla's feathers a bit. I also wonder if the timing triggered Camilla. Right after the end of year numbers, which were dismal for Kate, and while William and Kate are likely on another vacation. I can see Camilla reading that article thinking, "Oh, please," as she reached for her wine and cigarette and making a phone call. We do see Charles push back against the King William narrative, but I think this was different because Camilla is a different enemy to have. Much less subtle. Period. So there you have it, squaddies. And that is what's really going on behind the scenes. This is the context they don't want discussed. Same institution, new spin, and the spin stops here. That's a wrap. But before you go, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Give this video a like if you appreciate honest commentary. Turn on the notification bell so YouTube actually lets you know when I upload, and share this video wherever the conversation is happening. And as always, I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts, reactions and theories in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.